Everybody, welcome back to our Trading ThinkScript class. My name is Mike Fairborn. It is always a pleasure to be back here with you. A lot of fun stuff when we're dealing with ThinkScript, finding codes for different scans, indicators. Oftentimes is a combination of the two that we piece together in this class. And yeah, can I say happy Thursday? It's kind of an odd thing to say, but happy Thursday. Good to have you here. As I mentioned, folks, hello to you, Jenny. We've got AI. We've got Michael. We've got Sam. We've got others here. Hello to you, Richard. We've got Rocky. Many others here in the chat. We've got Scott, Life in the Fast Lane, Virgil. Great to have you all on board, folks. Any questions you have, throw those in the chat so we can help address those for you. I've got my good friend here and my manager, Scott Thompson, in the chat. You'll see him there as ST. Appreciate you jumping in, Scott, and helping out today. It's always great to have Scott on board. He's very knowledgeable on the topic as well. Be sure to follow us on X, Scott Thompson CS, Mike Fairborn CS. Love to have you on board there with us. Folks, today I wanted to take a look and talk about what might be one of the strongest price patterns out there. Many traders will say it is the strongest price pattern. They believe it is. And there's reasons behind why they would think that way, and that is the Darvas box. We're going to be looking specifically at code and a scan combined with that for the ThinkScript itself, the ThinkScript code. And with this, we're going to be looking at those specific breakouts above that range. So I'm going to explain what that is, why traders will focus in on this. It's based on an individual by the name of Nicholas Darvas, who's written about this in the past. Very fascinating, but looking forward to it. And great to have you here. Okay, so let's do this. Let's dive into some disclosures to get the show on the road here. Let's see. The information here is for general information purposes only and should not be considered an individualized recommendation or personalized investment advice. Paper money software application for education purposes only as well. Now, backtesting results, they are hypothetical, and there's no guarantee that the same strategy implemented today would produce similar results going forward. A couple of additional quick notes. Investing involves risk, including for some products, more than your initial investment. Key point to remember there. Past performance of any security strategy does not guarantee future results of success. We do have to list the futures there so that we can look at the charts, but that's all we look at. Futures options trading involves substantial risk, not suitable for all investors. And that is it for our disclosures. So let's do it. Let's dive on into things here. Take a look quickly at our markets here, as we've got a lot of different lines in here. And the question is will we follow through and continue with that short-term flag pattern higher? We were talking yesterday in the price patterns class, hey, it may come down to what the results would be with NVDA, NVIDIA, who did announce some good results. And a lot of investors, traders were looking at NVIDIA, okay, to see if that might push us higher. The reason why I'm just hitting this real quick is because a lot of times we determine what the market's doing in this class before we're really, building out bullish or bearish type trades, those kinds of setups. So, somewhat bullish right here as we might be bouncing, but with NVIDIA, a lot of, analysts were looking at it. I'll take these lines off here, or fibs for now. But as you can see, you got the bounce, but they were looking at it due to a projection in earnings where was NVIDIA going to be able to guide higher? That was the big thing. They were planning on having good results and they beat them. I think it was 209 we were looking at yesterday and they came in at 222. Yeah, they did. So they beat again. Long history of beating expectations. Some great tools that we have on the platform, by the way, to see that under the Analyze tab. Like over here, it's going to give you 8 consecutive quarters of earnings. And you can see 7 out of those 8, we were beating analyst expectations. And by the way, this one over here has not been updated yet. So I could say 8 out of 9 quarters we beat Wall Street estimates there in the blue for NVIDIA. But you like to see that long upward trajectory, right? Because maybe at some point it might get us out of our longer term range here. Turns out that NVIDIA did guide higher all the way out, though. They guided earnings higher through 2028. So I think that's what really helped NVIDIA to bounce back. But it did cause kind of a move across a lot of different technology groups as well. Like some of the software even began to break out higher. I'm going to talk about this. This is actually coming outside of a Darvas box. And so it is quite interesting, but I wanted to highlight this, point it out to you. Some others movers out there in the market, and this interestingly as well is okay. Intraday or during the day, we did get a Darvis box breakout according to the scan. We pulled back down inside of the range. More on this in a second. I'm just going to kind of highlight, maybe plant a quick seed here as to what we'll be looking at with that Darvis box, and that is a strong move to the upside, folks. Very, very much like a bull flag type pattern, right? You're getting the strength of the pull of the move, but then what you're getting in here is you're getting a consolidation, which is also noted. Could be a triangle. It could be what's referred to as just a sideways range. Uh, and these are oftentimes referred to as maybe the bull, not a bull flag, but more of a bull flat, holding above a certain Fibonacci level, like at 38% or above. Went into that in detail yesterday. Well, excuse me, that was in our swing trade class on Thursday. But a lot of times these pullbacks here, if we're looking at a range, the Darvis box is going to be the stronger type flag pattern, holding up like over here. See this last portion of the move over here, this rally up to that high, holding really the 38% or above and kind of going sideways. That, folks, is this right here. I just wanted to show it to you because this is in the news. We're going to jump back into the Darvis box in just a second, but that right there, he's looking at that box. So a strong upward move, tight, super tight consolidation, and then the scan we'll be looking at today with the ThinkScript coding is the breakout of that scan. So that's what I brought up earlier. Is it one of the strongest patterns that traders look at? I mean, it's in that range. It's in that realm, right, of what they might be looking for. All right. So with that, let's do just a little quick note on our ThinkScript trading. In other words, what have we gone through recently? What are some of the ThinkScript codes that we do look at, some of the scans that we run, and what are we seeing just in the markets right now in terms of opportunities? Now, I wanted to dive in initially, just go right into the volume trend indicator, right? Also known as that smart money indicator on a short-term basis. It gives us the percentage of buying and selling, and oftentimes, this is the one by Big Beluga. This is the one that uses recommended or more oftenly used on a 15-minute chart. Let's just go back a few days on this. I'll go back like 20 days or so on a 15-minute chart. Gives us a good broad perspective, where what we're doing is we're exploring this range over here. Smart money buying relative to smart money selling is what that indicator will look for. Let's see, and then we reference that with our daily charts. Let's go through and just show you a few of these that might be setting up in the general market. In terms of that, here is ARES. So ARES, this did come up as a volume trend block engine by Big Beluga is the total full name of it. You can find that in our playlists. So park that in your mind. That is in our ThinkScript playlist, but this is what it pulled up. And what it suggests, again, just a super quick overview, because we've got to go through a lot of different details today. But over here, right in this range here, you'll notice that it is kind of interesting because did we break above some highs here? Yes, we did. We broke above some highs. We can clearly see the high range. Next thing, was there resistance there? Well, it stopped there. It actually stopped here, here, and here. That's the 140 level. There's a little bit of a precedence of resistance at 140. We actually cleared that post earnings. We broke above, we held a little bit of a pullback again and again, and here we are bouncing. So what's interesting is it did come up as a volume trend indication. So if I go over here into the 15-minute chart, put the indicator on that we discussed in that class specifically, and that is right over here. Let's see, so it's the trend. No, I'm sorry, volume trend. I do have a trend volume too. It's the volume trend right there. Right there. Volume trend order block engine. I'm going to click it on. Again, 15-minute charts. It's really kind of an intraday, but we do cross-reference that in what I've been talking about here on a daily chart, just so we can see what might be at play here. And these are some of the interesting things that have been noted. This looks again at 60, the scan does, looks at 60% plus Look at that. 94 buyers in here. 68 more recently. This is the more important part. 61 and 75 right there. Now, what is this we're looking at? Well, it's ARES Management. It is a financial company. We're getting that right in here. Does it mean it's going to go up higher? No, but it appears, according to this indicator, we are getting some smart money buying coming in here. So what we're going to do on this, we are just going to place a trade on this because we do trade things scripts. We don't want to forget what we've learned in this class. So let's build on it too a bit. It's a little bit more expensive stock, so just for the sake of going through this, I'm going to go ahead and put this in as a 50 block share. 50 share block. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to set this up. And I forgot to point this out, but I'll do it here in just a second. I will show you. We'll look at our ranges here in just a second. I'm just going to widen those out. Always refer to the order dialog box as you go through. Buying power effect, etc. is on there. We'll place this trade, and I'll set this up over there. There's the fill. And what we're going to be looking at here is this is really kind of falling into a classic Elliott wave type ABC pattern after the run up. In fact, you've got this. There are a couple we could look at here, but I would say that this could be construed as a little bit of a minor flag, A, B, C, consolidation, and perhaps we would see a flag type follow through here. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get out some of our measuring tools right off the Thinkorswim platform. There's the first leg, and what we would do is we would measure this. Oh, not remove. I could go duplicate or activate. I don't want to remove it. I want to keep it. There we go. Let's duplicate it. We'll pull it right over there. So that could be our initial target there. Let's just pull this up to that level. And to the downside, I'm keeping it below this prior low range right here in terms of a potential exit level. Now, we talked about that over here. But I'm going to just restate it again, specifically that because we do place trades in this class. And I wanted to note that as we do that, the stop orders, can we put a stop order in? They're not guaranteed, to fill at that price, but once executed, they do go and they do compete with existing orders. So there's no guarantee of the execution of the stop, but that will be at or near the stop price. But that's where liquidity can come in play and etc. But wanted to just quote that real quick for you so you had it. Okay. Having said that, that's our first one. Now, are we done with this? No. The reason why I wanted to point this out is because we're getting a few of these volume block trade setups that might be unfolding. Here's another one here, BX, so another financial company showing, if I zoom into it here, yeah, look at this. So 83%, 72, 72 right towards the end. A little bit more buying than selling. There was a little bit of a sell-off in here. A little bit of a mixed bag, you have to say. But as we're getting close to what could be the end of that flag, some buying coming in. Traders might want to wait, though, for the possibility of a breakout, but you can see the consolidation range in there as well. Oh, so much easier once we get those long-term fibs out of the way, right? All right, let's see. We have a couple more to do. GL as well, getting some volume block buying relative to selling. Here is one I wasn't too familiar with. You guys seen this before? Hubble? Hubble. Interesting to look and just see what we've got here. Electrical manufacturers and sells electrical utility equipment. Okay, so electricity distribution and transmit electricity. What's interesting here is you're getting massive levels of support through here. And every time, well, let's put it this way. We've come down and hit near this level. What have we had? We've had some spikes, haven't we? We're down here again. Question mark, will we get the spike? Well, we're seeing maybe some of that buying coming in right towards the end. There's an 85. That was only a 22, but right towards the tail end right here, the buying. And that's what's triggering the scan, as we talked about. Let me do this. I want to make sure that I put that playlist in the list here for you guys so you have it. I'll put it in the chat real quick and we'll pull it up so you guys can tap into that. By the way, if you're finding value out of this class, we're going to talk about the Darvas box immediately here, but just wanted to state that Yeah, smash that like button, lets us know. Let Scott and I know that you are getting value out of the discussion. And also, love to have you subscribe to our playlist up top, or our Trader Talks channel right here. I'll put this in the box as well, so you've got it. And then I will put in that playlist here for you. Just so you've got it, you can go in and pull up the code under the description field within this class. There's our wolf waves from last week, but we'll go ahead and just copy that link and we'll pull it down here. And that is the playlist for the class here. So let's just do this. I'll have that also posted in the description section under the video as well. But here you go. Playlist. Okay. So with that said, let's continue on. I've got one more here that there was some buying towards the tail end of that. And then NXPI, a semiconductor that hasn't really participated with a lot of the semiconductors out there. You know, they've been much more on an upward trajectory. This is kind of a longer term pullback. Look at the mixed bag you get over here. You're getting some selling and some buying in here that's actually in the 70s. This whole run over here, that whole move, according to this volume trend, 77% of that was buying, 23% was selling, and you're getting some interesting ranges in here. So let's just see if it can get going or not. That's what pulled it up on the scan. It has been down for a while, but a lot of times you look at these and you say, well, is there the possibility to make a little bit of move to the upside? We're coming down from 340. We're below 240. That's below, roughly 120 points down. So it could be an interesting one that we would refer to as a laggard in the group. It's a laggard, opposed to some of the others like AMD that have really held a strong upward range. But just to say, some of the buying's coming in there. Now, real quickly, I wanted to throw this out here too. The good old MACD hook has also been showing some indications too this week. We looked at this in addition to a swing trade class that we talked about previously. I just want to look. I'm going to take the average line out of this. Sorry, I'm going to actually save this so it's there for us next time as we look at this. It's not for this guy. This has been below the zero line, but a couple standouts there with the hook itself. So again, showing the strength to get above CAH, sorry, to get above that zero line. So that momentum, and you can see CAH over here, Cardinal Health. What are we saying? Sideways, 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 sideways. Folks, this is also forming into a Darvas type box. The reason that we don't have it today as a scan is it hasn't broken out yet. Today's scan and code and scan are going to help us identify these types of breakouts. How's that sound? That will be interesting though. But here's one that's just going inside. This is the MACD hook. You can see us hooking right there. Do you see it? The hook above zero. Remember that momentum that we might be getting in there. And what else do we have? We've got CEG. This too. But depending upon how we define the strength of this, I don't know if it would quite get us a Darvas box, but you could see what has been happening here. That move, that breakout across the MACD line, the hook, and potential breakout range area. EXE, Expand Energy, one of the biggest, I think it is the biggest natural gas producer in the US. Uh, we'd written this down a while back. Interestingly enough, one of the rare diamond bottom type patterns, price patterns. This is a very weak rally coming up, getting close to that 100 where there is resistance, but you're getting the hook in place there. And you're probably going to be getting, I would guess, yeah, the wolf waves are going to be right in here too. You're going to be getting some wolf waves. So this would come up on a wolf wave scan if you start breaking above those highs. Last but not least, GPC, and then we'll be done here. There's your hook right there, the hook. And this was part of last week's scan. So it was a double feature. It wasn't in the title. You can only put so much in those titles, those YouTube titles, but it was a double feature. We had wolf waves and the MACD hook, but there you go. All right. Now, let's move on to the Darvas box. And the Darvas box is that stronger sort of, if you really look at it, it's almost known as a longer term flag type pattern, but it is different. It's unique. This one came up on the scan today. Let's just make it exclusive. There is a MACD hook on there, right there, clearly, but I'm going to take it off in this fashion. I'm going to actually resave this so I get this up, keep it up here next time. But okay, this is that description. I want to go through it again so we have it down. I think many of you guys already know, I mean, you know this, but just to highlight it one more time, strong upward move followed by, let's flip some colors here. We got them right here. This super tight range. You could say in a lot of ways, it is that bull flat type pattern. Could be within here just a measured move, sort of a sideways channel. It could also be a pennant type pattern, maybe an ABC. It could be an A, B, C, D, E, which is your triangle pattern, but they all have something very much in common, and that is that they are all very, very similar. They don't pull back too far, right, from the trend itself. They're all probably holding above that 38.2 range. Let me highlight it. It's right here. Okay, click on it right there. That's what we're getting. That's the range. Notice over here, strength. I'm looking for this automatically right from the get-go. Did we take out some highs? The trend's up. It's been down for a little while. This again is that software group, right? Software. And within that software, we just saw another one too. What's helping this too, like I mentioned from the get-go, that NVIDIA can really help. They were just looking for, Jensen Huang in many cases, I think, to project higher, uh, out further in time, more AI build out, etc. Could be very interesting, but we are seeing some of the software run too. That, folks, is a Darvas box that will come up in our scan here just momentarily, but I wanted to highlight what that's doing. Again, strong upward move, but we're retaining it. Bam. That's what we're after today. The Darvas box, named after Nicholas Darvas, named it after himself, Darvas box. But yeah, he had done a number of studies on this just years ago. I did read through all that material and brought it back here and just enhanced it a little bit. Now, the thing is too on this, let's go ahead and look at, it's already broken out, but where might the pattern be? The price pattern, or where might the price projection be? Well, there's a few things we could look at. First of all, we could go longer term because the Darvas box can be a longer term type strategy as well. In fact, we can easily flip the code into a weekly chart. I'll pull you one up that showed up on the weekly here too, which is it's just a weekly chart, just holding over weeks as opposed to days. But that right there is actually a really, really strong move off the bottom. It's pretty consistent, consecutive over that time frame. So it's a little bit longer term. If we did break out higher, you would have something like this to the upside, which takes us back towards our prior highs as well. That's a really, really long one. Now, a lot of traders aren't comfortable with that. It doesn't match their time frame. But what they could look at is once we actually begin to change the trend off the bottom, because right down here, we didn't change the trend. So some traders will oftentimes look at the move that starts right here as we get outside that base and get going. Now, a standard sort of a flag move would be something along these lines. You're getting a move to the upside here. We could measure it up top, but watch what I do here. If I use this flag move, I'm going to just activate it this time and pull it over. From our breakout range, our last high before the breakout, that could be a much shorter term target. You'll notice too, yeah, there might be some resistance right through here as well. So that could be of interest, but let's just say, for example, somebody is playing this. They are a little bit late to the game. Uh, we are later in the day too, but if they wanted to trade that breakout, and I realize we're already up a little bit, but just to participate in something like this, just with even like 30 shares or 20 shares, right? Because there's an anticipation. Let's say that they think that we might retrace up to the 290 level or above. Let's put that trade on there for our 20 shares. Just due to the price of the stock, a little bit expensive. All else equal, I'm going to go ahead and just adjust this on the chart again. But this would be the breakout trade, 265. Probably too low, but let's go 20 on through and checking out that dialog box, putting it on in, click that through. And what I'm going to do is just simply state if we break below this low on the breakout bar, get us out. But that is our shorter term projected move right there. Mike, is there not a chart indicator for the Darvas box? Now, there is a Darvas box in here. This is a great question. We can go over here and pull it up. But did you like my drawings in there? Tell me you liked my drawings. Were they that good? I don't know. Maybe not that good. Darvas box right here. Before I click on into it, let's take a look at it. Study generates buy and sell signals on the crossover of the price plot between the two bands. Now that's the key point, the bands within a range. I'm going to set it up here right now. I'm going to click on this. Notice we don't have anything else in here, but this is in fact the boxes. And basically it's just using price channels along this line. You see the price channels right through here. What we're going to do within the scan is define this. I was able to take some of this information to build that out, but that actually does show those boxes right there that we just were highlighting. Okay. I'll explain it in more detail, but you got it. Yeah. In other words, hey, Jenny, there's some improvement that could be done there, right? There's some improvement that could be made with these drawings. Hey, I'm trying to get the drawing tools. I'm trying to use technology here to help me out a little bit. All right. To account for that difference. All right. Very good. Do you guys like these on here? They can be very, very interesting, but it's a good way to learn what that's at. I'm going to take them off for a second because I'll tell you what, I like mine a little bit better. I'll be honest with you. There we go. Those are just too many, too many to look at. I promised you one earlier. DG, we looked at that from the get-go, and we did get an early signal. Of course, it has fallen off, but that is your box right there. And that was the breakout. Now, that could be fascinating. What's interesting, and this ties back into Darvas himself, but he does talk about a few different ways to trade as well. Just, talking about an individual, just like a trader, that just people have a lot of different ways to do different things. But a lot of times this move over here, if we're looking at a price pattern, yeah, that move could project itself back up to over in here. That's what we were saying. I mean, that was a good move. What happened to it? What happened to DLT? Oh, wait a second. DLTR is in that range. Whoa, that could be dragging on it a little bit. Although up from our lows. Oh, that's earnings. So what happened? What did they say? Did it just come out and say that Dollar General's getting all of our business, a chunk of our business? Because one went up, one went down. Well, that remains to be seen. Now, let's get in to what we just talked about. Some of the other areas, we said it, that have been moving with that on that NVIDIA news. We're getting some of the breakouts in financials. You guys saw it. ARES, the first one, that was the volume trend. PLTR. Do you see the box? This is the kind of drawing I like. It just puts there you go. All the levels on it. Don't have to screw up anything. That's it right there. Now that came up on the scan today, and you can see really what got us going here right off the bottom. Oftentimes it can be something like that fundamental announcement that gets the ball rolling. Okay. So PLTR, Palantir. Yeah. Yeah. That's a Darvas box. Now, what he had mentioned, I think, but he looked at a little bit longer term. He was saying like something like 4 weeks or so. I put it into a minimum of 8 bars. Now, I want to show you this just because I mean that is interesting, but you can see your box right there. Do you guys like this? I mean I think it's if you can find flag patterns like that, maybe there are oftentimes some follow through that some traders would look for. That's a pretty interesting code that can pick up on this. Next one, let me just share the code real quick right after this. But this was Visa. Now you look back at Visa and say, Mike, where was it? It's back here. I do have a look back in the scan, but it wasn't this far back. This was actually a weekly. There you go. Uh, It was right over here. It was picking it up here on a weekly basis, and that was the weekly breakout. The weeklies, you can get them, and we can redesign some of the coding to get us some of the weeklies a little bit better, but actually in the scan itself, let's go into it. I think, yeah, let's just do this real quick here. Let's go in and just change one little thing. There we have it. There we go. Now we already save it. Let's save that scan query. Darvis box. Oh, Darvas. VAS. All right. Now we got to, there we go. Save it. Okay, good. All right. So with that, I'll pull it up right here. So we'll talk through a little bit of that coding as well too. But I did add in here a look back period. Now, when I'm saying a base look back here, I've made it really adjustable and easy to do, and that's just an 8 bar. Now, if we ran this on a weekly, which I'm going to do here in just a second, I want to check it out and see what we get. It's a simple thing, nothing else to adjust. Just know that it's going to be looking at 8 bars on a weekly chart, and that's a couple months, right? 8 bars. Uh, you got that. We've got that's the base look back. Now we've got a max pullback. What this represents is the range, the max range of the moves in here. Okay, just using already existing code out there, tapping into it. That's all we're doing is we're just saying within a range, it's got to be that 10%, and that's max, right? So you'd have to say less than or equal to that 10%. Next up, we can go out as 44 in terms of the breakout look back, 44 bars. So we're looking about 8 to 44. These numbers can be altered, of course, if you're looking for different kinds of boxes. And then lastly, of course, we've been doing this a lot. That's the breakout, really specific here. It's not just the look. Okay, I had to distinguish between the two here. You got a look back and a look back, and we're looking at this. That's the range. But then we also have a breakout here. And with that, I said, let us know 3 bars ago. Now, you could say 10 bars. Why would that be interesting? Well, if I want to go back as far as 10 bars, if I have a Darvis box breakout, and it goes like this, a lot of times they consolidate and then do what? Well, a lot of times they can continue up with the trend as they've bounced off that support level. This is not going to happen within 3 bars in many cases. You want to give it something like more than 3. I just said 10 over here. So this could be adjusted to pick up on that too. But that's what this is. This is the breakout look back bar specific. All right. That's what we called it. Let's go ahead and run it. Since we've saved it as dynamic, oh gosh, oh, hang on, I don't want to run it in there. I've got to run it in the S&P 500. Although you are getting some, interestingly, you are getting some Darvis boxes in. This is just totally by chance, but we accidentally ran it on all of the industries. So if an industry is getting a Darvis box breakout, could be fascinating. What are those? Distributors, software. Oh, we knew software was there. ADSK. We looked at Adobe earlier. I want to look at some others here with you too. And there's software again. Distributors, though, that's interesting. Financials too, but it's not listed. Let's go over into the 500. I'm going to resave this because I want this again, you guys. I want it to be a dynamic watch list. And when I share it with you guys, it's going on the S&P 500. If you wanted to ever have it pull up something different, you'd want to do it, you'd want to change what you're scanning in, obviously, and the different structure behind it. So let's go into the Darvis box. And oh, up one more. Oh, we got the Darvis and the Darvis. This is the DRVAS box. Now it is our dynamic watch list, and we can take a look at this. Okay, this is a lot of fun because these are hard. I mean, you'd have to scan through 500 and really just, try to find these. That was our weekly, but let's go ahead and take a look at some others in here. Look at maybe some other, where did we went down PLTR, right? We saw that one. Interesting. PTC. There it is. Right there. Now, not all of these are going to be perfect. Thus far, we've hit some really interesting ones. I mean, quite a few should just follow the code, but right there. A little closer to the breakout. you know, interesting stuff in terms of strong trend breakouts, tight consolidation. Bam. With that little breakout. Let's do it justice. We'll highlight it as well. That's the breakout. Now over here, what did we miss in this group? We got some top. Oh, that's another tag. Okay. God, that's a big one. That's a big one. I mean, in terms of this run, that's a long run. But with that long run, a long consolidation as what? Where are you? I clicked on it. No, it's not doing it. Hang on. I want to do this right there, just above those highs. Now, we know that it is one dot 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 up to 3 days. And yes, a two fits in there, 1 to 3 days. If I said 10, I'm going to get a lot more. And maybe, just maybe, we're going to find this. This is what I want you guys to take a look at. Break up, break out. If you do it a little bit longer, are you seeing anything now that might be currently resting on prior highs? That might be even more a little bit timely. Perhaps, right? You're right in that range. Let's do this. I'm gonna share the link. Now again, think scripts are not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, but we do have good data flowing through the platform. As long as the data is good, it's just a mathematical number, but we can't guarantee that, no guarantee on that data, etc. Just want to throw that out there for you guys. But yeah, let's put it at Darvis. Okay, there it is. So when you get this, and by the way, I will post this under the description section of the recorded video. If you're watching this on the recording, it will be under the video. You want to click on more. Scroll down on the description. You'll see the link posted down below there. Copy that link or just take the link we've got right now if you're not familiar with doing this. And that's everybody at some point in time, right? When you're new, go up to the top under setup, go to open shared item, post it in here and click on preview. Now, I would really recommend naming it exactly what it is. It is the Darvis box breakout or Darvis box. It will be in the scan. Import that, and then you have to remember where to find it. Remember, it's associated with the library that we've just created. We've created a scan, so therefore you have to look in the scan library to find it. So in, main tab up top, scan tab, stock hacker, over to the far right, click on it, load it up, and you're going to find it just to the left there in your personal files. That's where we pulled it up at. That's where it's saved. And you got it. Now we can scan it. It's going to be identical to over here, but this is so nice. Instead of a static one-time scan, you got to go ahead and click, click, click all day to get these 25 companies within the 3-day breakout range. Okay. But instead of having to do all that, what can we do? Just make it dynamic. Look at the chart. Let it come up every single day. A dynamic updating watch list. It'll only happen though if you save it and save it so you can find it. And then over here, just find it in your personal folders, right? That's all you got to do. Darvis, bam, right there. I got to remove the Darvis instead of the Darvas. All right. But that's FTNT. What else do we have? Remember we looked at this guy not too long ago? Good old Roper. That was a cup and handle. Oh, that came up on something else. And notice what it can also help us spot. I didn't even think about it, you guys, until now. Yeah. Yeah, you could. There could be other sorts of strategies you could do. I'm just reading, taking a look at the chat box as well. Look at this. We looked at this as a cup and handle. Okay, we're moving into a different territory here. Cup and handle broken into 3 specific patterns. The saucer bottom, also known as the rounded bottom. The bull flag portion, or shall we say, potential bull flat. We said it was one of them, the pennant right there. So we're looking back. We're not forgetting what we've learned in this class and in other classes, of course. And that is, hey, recognition of what could be going on behind the scenes here. What did this do? This would have spotted, because it's right there on you guys see it, right? Did the code pull it up? It's right there. Unmistakably so. And it's broken out above the range. So still developing. We've got some time. We've got some time. to see what happens here on the potential continuation of the cup and handle. I'm going to draw it out though right now because these cup and handles, that's kind of like the side of that cup. And kind of a hint is that it lines up very nicely here. And if you go down here and look at this, ooh, that's the extent of the cup. There is a very, very small thing I wanted to highlight here too, that it is interesting because, if you can spot these, keep an eye on it. But look over here with me. That's a gap. And yes, there is a gap right there. That is an island bottom, also known as an island reversal. Okay. Well, all I'm getting at here is a lot of times if you can get multiple patterns, it could be interesting. I'm extending this up approximately to this level because that is the price target, and we're looking over here. Now, I've already got a trade on this in the swing trade class because we do look at this kind of stuff too. In fact, what we're looking at is the bull flag. And that's, by the way, that's a shorter term move. That's the long one. But within this, we said that there are flags that oftentimes form, and this would be your shorter term move right there. There's the high, measured off those lows. Oh yeah, much, much shorter. Just maybe close to this range or so. Very good. There we go. Paging Mr. Roper. Mr. Roper to the office, please. Yes. Right from the chat. Thank you. All right. What else do we have? Oh my gosh, what's this what's this guy right off the bottom? Look at that. Waters? Oh, there it is. Okay. Waiting for the breakout. And there you go. Oh, this is what I liked. I mean, this is just generally. I mean, do you like to see it stop at resistance or to close above? You guys tell me. Now, I have to say, I think many of you are going to say, well, you better be saying close above because if you're holding resistance, it's still resistance and it could be like a topping formation. I mean, in other words, things could change dramatically if you're not breaking above resistance. Highlight this super quick. We come down here, we come into a range, we come back up here and we go like this, just below that level. Yeah, you're probably going to want to be waiting for a breakout because you have stopped at resistance right there. That's supposed to be blue. Blue? Yeah. Resistance right there. You stopped. So it could still be interesting, but it could also be a we don't know question mark, right? One of the key hints, you guys, as you look into this, my background is actually accounting and finance. I got into technicals and stuff later because it's just so fascinating. There's a lot of combinations in there too. But fundamentals over long periods of time, if you see a fundamental move over here, it can price the value of the company higher where institutional money, we talked about the volume trend indicator earlier. Smart money might be getting involved. Yeah, you don't want to forget those indicators either, but there you have it. So they can come together. You do find it interesting a lot of times that there are stronger, at least the market's responding to those, and that means oftentimes not what the market just did for me, kind of like not what have you done for me lately? That doesn't even work in the market in a lot of cases. It's what are you going to do for me? Yeah, not lately, but also what are you going to do for me next? That's into the future. And that's where those earnings, and that's everything we've been talking about is kind of at least strengthen the market. A lot of it could have been that NVIDIA, and we did see some guidance out in the future that can give investors confidence. That's what I've got today, folks. Smash that like button. I did not see, and Scott would posted that in. We did not get a survey in the chat, but uh, like it, subscribe to the Trader Talks channel if you found value to it. And I look forward to future discussions with you folks. I am out tomorrow and Monday, but Connie Hill does a great job. We'll be teaching the markets and sectors class. Encourage you to take a look at that class. She does a great job there. Appreciate Connie for doing that. I appreciate Scott for being here today to help out in the chat as always. Thanks, Scott. Thank you very much, Scott. And with all that, you guys have a fantastic rest. Have fun with this and work with those scans. Set up different time frames and see what you could find in terms of the Darvas box. All right, on that note, take care all. See you next time.